As we listen closely to our children and as we observe their behavior, they give us lots of clues when they're unhappy. If you want to learn a lot more about how to listen and how to help your children speak to you, share themselves with you, see the written answer on parenting amongst the materials that you get every week. See the written answer on the parenting site from May 7, 2020. If we ask the right questions and engage them in conversation, often we discover that they're unhappy because, and I mean really often, they feel less than worthwhile. Every child who feels less than worthwhile is unhappy. And almost all happiness leads back to that in some way, also called low self-esteem or feeling bad about themselves. In great part, this happens because they are, well, one, not getting sufficient unconditional love. That's the root cause to pretty much all pain. But it's exceedingly common that they're comparing themselves to other people. The opportunities for comparison are everywhere. Celebrities are depicted electronically in film and in print, intentionally and unintentionally, as models of what people should look like and behave like. This is soul-destroying to children and teens who look at their average day and then look in the mirror to see the vast chasm of separation between their lives and their appearance and these perfect people who are depicted everywhere. Second, kids need only look at the number of followers they have on social media to quantify, if you can believe it. I wouldn't have even considered such a thing 20 years ago, to quantify their popularity and immediately compare it to the numbers of others. 3, at the Walmart checkout counter, magazine and newspaper covers scream at our children what is cool and desirable, and our kids can't help but compare themselves to what they see. 4, children and teens spend untold hours on Facebook and other social media where they can compare themselves to the enhanced photos of other kids and to their hyped up activities. Facebook was born from a previous website created by the same guy, where pictures of college girls were placed side by side and judged by their hotness. And whoever was less hot was, electronically speaking, thrown in the garbage. And that's often how our children feel when compared to anybody else. And this continues today, just in sometimes less obvious ways, sometimes not. There are still apps where people look at pictures of other men and women and I don't know which direction is the right way, swipe them left or right. In other words, keep them. Yeah, I'd see her. Or into the trash. Comparing. Makeover shows are everywhere, comparing the appearances of people before cosmetic work is done, surgical and not, which is universally considered the less acceptable version of that person, the before picture. And they compare it to the appearance after alteration of their clothing, hair, cosmetics, surgery, whatever. And of course, the viewers also compare themselves to the before and after images. Comparison everywhere. At school, every day, kids compare themselves to each other. And they hear the comparisons. Oh, look at her. Look what's wrong with her compared to the mythical concept of what is acceptable or what is beautiful or what is cool. This is done silently and aloud, often mimicking what they've seen in other comparison carnivals like the ones I've talked about up to this point. You might feel inadequate in addressing the subjects of comparison and self-worth with your children. So allow me to suggest some of the things you might say in such discussions. These are just ideas. I'm not suggesting that you use these exact words. Now, if you have no words at all, you can steal these exact words, but it will at least get your brain going and coming up with your own way of talking to your child. So you're talking to your child. You hear your child compare himself or herself to the standard of beauty, the standard of competence, to another girl, to another guy. You hear them compare, and you can say things like, quote, "You do not know these people you're seeing in the media. You have no idea what they're like. Nearly every day, some celebrity is exposed as an alcoholic, addict, or I guess if you read the celebrity magazines, which I don't, there's probably somebody in there every day. But in those ways and in other ways, they're proving they're unhappy despite their supposedly beautiful outward appearance." End quote. Another one. Quote, "You do not know the people at school and everywhere else, the people that you envy. When you believe that someone has a better life than you do, remember that you just do not know them well enough." End quote. Another. Many of these people you might admire do have lives that appear to be entertaining, exciting, and enviable, but you don't know anything about the qualities in them that make us happy for a lifetime. End quote. This would be an opportunity for you to tell them about people you have envied in the past. We've all done this comparison game. People that you later discovered, they're going to listen when you say you fell for this. You admired this person or that person, and then you later discovered that they weren't at all like you thought. I've seen, for counseling and help, many, many rich and famous people on television, models, billionaires, and one day sitting this far from me, a billionaire with a B said to me a quote that I'll never forget. He said, "I am the loneliest man on the face of the earth." Our children need to hear stories like that so that they know that we rush to get $1 million. The only thing that happens then is that we rush to get the next million. It doesn't make people happy. The way you say that to a child matters. If you say it desperately and you're trying to convince them, they'll reject you out of hand. If you just tell it to them matter of fact and give them real stories to prove it, maybe they'll listen. Another possibility, quote, "Being happy is entirely within your ability to choose. That state of being, happiness, the greatest condition of life, is accomplished by feeling loved, being loving, and being responsible." That shouldn't be news to your child if you've been having family meetings after listening to the parenting training. You continue, quote, "Your happiness has nothing to do with how you look, the money you have, the clothes you wear, and the number of people who follow you on Facebook." End quote. Again, you might know people you could describe to illustrate this truth. Another thing you could say, quote, "Being happy is a condition that only you can determine. It has nothing to do with other people. The goal of being happier than others is a seductive lie. It will not make you feel better about yourself. But worrying about how your happiness compares to that of other people will make you feel worse about yourself and unhappy." End quote. Another quote, "You're comparing yourself, who you are overall, including your worst days, with what people only appear to be on their very best day and best photo shot, including modifications of their photos and carefully crafted messages about their activities. The comparison is laughably unfair." End quote. Another one. On the internet, a beauty consultant wrote this. This is something I read in an actual beauty article. I have no idea how I got to a beauty article, but I remember the quote. And it went like this: "A step-by-step guide on how to become extremely beautiful." Well, every girl in the world is dying to read what's next. And the first thing this beauty consultant said was, "Stop comparing yourself to anyone else. She went on to say that if you compare yourself to other people, you're going to feel worthless and you're going to make yourself look not beautiful. Comparing yourself to others creates a virus of uncertainty that will detract from how beautiful you feel. And that will affect how confident you are, which is known to affect strongly how beautiful people see you. Fear is not a beautiful quality. Last, you could say, quote, we're not here to be like other people. The only thing you can be great at is being you. You'll do a terrible job of trying to be somebody else, somebody you're not, end quote. Now let's spend a moment on just that last item, being ourselves. When each of us understands that the goal is to be ourselves, however different from the norm that might be, then comparison becomes really stupid looking. If I really understand that I can only be me, then I accept that I will be different from everybody else. I don't want to be like anybody else. And then suddenly my goal and responsibility is only to be true to myself and to improve upon it as I can. Comparison brings all that uniqueness to a stop. Being different, being unique is an enormous asset. It's a great gift. It's a glorious opportunity to develop this gift. Following are just a few quotes and ideas on this subject that might help you as you explain it to your children. Just things to get your mind going. Quote, the world is a great chorus of voices, consisting of the talents and personalities of all the people in it. We need your voice, you say to your child, to enhance the beauty of the sound. Certainly it enhances the beauty of my life to watch you being you. This is, of course, you speaking to your child. If you try to be like other people, we lose, everybody loses, your invaluable contribution to the overall beauty of the world. End quote. Another quote, we're not here to fit in. This is from James Hollis. To be well balanced or to provide examples for others, we're here to be eccentric, different, sometimes weird, sometimes geeky, sometimes fill in the blank, strange, maybe merely to add our small piece, our little clunky, chunky selves to that great mosaic of being. As the gods intended, continues Hollis, we are here to become more and more ourselves, end quote. Maureen Dowd said, something that's weird, sometimes the thing that's weird about you is the thing that's cool about you. And then I would add, so don't lose the thing that's weird about you. Don't try to be like anybody else. Another quote, if you compare yourself to others, you won't be able to stop what follows. First, you'll feel bad about yourself, which will really get in the way of you being yourself all the way. And second, you'll try to be like other people. And we don't need another Michael or Adriana or whoever you're comparing yourself to. We need you, end quote. Another, the last, quote, if you want to contribute something better to the world, unavoidably, you must offer something different. If it's going to be better, it's got to be different from the norm, which usually attracts the criticism of others who are attached to the old way of doing things. If you try to be like others, you might avoid their criticism, but your contribution to the world is lost, end quote. Most important for you as a parent, however, far more important than what you teach with these or other words, is how you love your child. If you celebrate their unique qualities, not praise, just celebrate them, talk about them, help them see what these qualities are, and help them see how their being different contributes to their happiness while you minimize the occasions that you try to change them, they'll believe what you say about the spectacular benefits of being different.